You are listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. We are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Sunday. I'm your host, Angela Smerito, and in studio with me, we have Melissa Jacob with Striking Brand.
Hello, hello. How are you today?
Very good, thank
Great.
you. And Melissa is our co-host and our videographer. And if you go to baadradio.com, that's BAAD radio.com, you can see all the previous episodes of the shows there. And it will actually take you to the YouTube page, which has even more shows there. And if you go to strikingbrand.com, you can see Melissa's other work because she's a videographer as well as a photographer.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I'm super excited to have Mindful Media Group CEO back in studio. Welcome, Krystal.
Hello. Hi.
Krystal Morris, I should say. I actually quoted her in one of our proposals as like, you know, I put what she said to me in quotes, and we actually included it in a proposal. And it was like stated, Krystal Morris, CEO, Mindful Media Group.
It was so funny because we were going over like who's going to say what during the presentation. I was like, I can't quote myself. You have to do that. That's funny.
But, you know, it's like a standalone quote. So it was really important. But it was a really good point. But anyway.
I said that.
Right. Yes.
In case everybody
as
wanted.
I said.
I said this. Write it down.
First, we're going to talk about, now we're going to talk about networking news, and it is brought to us by Symphonic CBD. Symphonic CBD is a branch of Live Your Best Life, both advocates for Green Compass Global. Green Compass products are USDA organic, lab-tested, non-GMO, made in the USA, cruelty-free. CBD products are key for making calmness a habit. They also have CBD for our fur babies. We don't want to forget about them. And to get more information on the benefits of CBD, visit symphonic-cbd.com. That's symphonic-cbd.com. And Terry Mandigo, she sells Green Compass too. And so she was in BNI today and she did the presentation. And it was really good because the first thing she talked about is like, everybody raise your hand. Who knows the difference between, you know, that you have the hemp world, the hemp plant, right? And that people are like, who knows the difference between like CBD
And THC.
and THC? And a lot of people still think it's the same thing, but they're two totally different plants. So, but that is a big thing, is that people are like, oh, I'm going to get high. And it's just not the case whatsoever.
Like, no, your back pain's going to go away. Like, that's it.
Absolutely. So I told Krystal earlier that for the networking news, I wanted to talk about an organization called 100 Women Strong. So Krystal and I attended a 100 Women Strong event. I think it was probably been about 3 or 4 months ago now. And it was really kind of just amazing. I don't know how else to say it.
So what is this event? What all do you guys do?
Well, the event that we went to was just like a seminar.
It was a women's summit. It was a
summit,
whole
right.
day women's summit. And there were speakers from all over the world.
I know, they were
It was
amazing.
it was incredible. It was 250 women in a room, and all the speakers were focused on women empowerment and change for women in their social lives, economical lives, you know, just across the board, just women empowerment and growth for women.
And they had keynote speakers, which were women, most of them, and they were absolutely amazing because they were in categories like banking and things that just women are like
Not usually.
Well, traditionally male-dominated
Right.
fields,
exactly.
right? Yeah.
And some of the stuff that they talked about just blew me away. But since then, Krystal's actually joined 100 Women Strong, and so that's why I wanted to talk about it. What is their initiative?
So 100 Women Strong is essentially a philanthropic giving circle. And
Okay.
so what that means is like, if I give $1,000 of my money to an organization, cool, great, I feel good, I gave $1,000 of my money. If 100 women come together and they give their money, the power of that money altogether is significantly greater, right? So like $1,000 versus $100,000 or $200,000 altogether. And it's not just like, here's some money, thanks, have a good day. And you feel good because you donated money to a
Right.
good cause. But 100 Women Strong does it differently because there is a grants and research process that goes behind it. And so it is a grant that's given.
Is it an annual grant?
It's an annual grant that's given. There's accountability behind it too. So with the grant process, I'm on the research and grants committee because it's like a nerdy thing that I love.
I knew she'd be on a committee of some sort.
But it's the accountability piece that I love of it, right? And so you go through this whole grant process, and we determine as a group, we vote on what we're going to give the grant to, or who we're going to give the grant to.
Is a grant like a scholarship, but just not in the
not in the education space, right?
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
yeah, essentially. And so you award a grant, right? You award this grant. They proposals together, and they say, here's how we're going to use the money, and this is what we're going to do. Here's how it's a focus of an initiative, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 100 Women Strong has initiatives that focus on women's empowerment. And so there are grants that either pilot, accelerate, or scale women's success and empowerment within our own Central Florida community. So all of the money stays here in Central Florida. It's kind of amazing. I'm like,
Have
I
you
don't
gotten
even know.
got to see any of like what the types of things that people propose?
Oh yeah. So right now, it's funny because it's the end of the year, right? So we just went through this whole grant selection process. We reviewed grants. We even interviewed experts in the field to say like, okay, well, what are really some of the big pain points that women in Central Florida are feeling? And then, we learned that obviously it's not just Central Florida, but it's across the entire country.
Yeah,
but
sure.
how does it affect here in Orlando more, or, at a greater scale? And so we learned about things like the cliff effect, which I had no idea what that even was.
You
right?
have to tell me what that
The
is.
cliff effect is, it has a lot to do with how much money you make versus how much benefits you get, or what the benefits, like the government benefits that you get, right? And so in some cases it's like childcare, some cases it's like, food or housing, just different things. But what the cliff effect is that if you actually make, like for example, you make $1 more, great, you're making more money, but that dollar offsets like $5 worth of benefits. And so you're actually negative, right? And so what it does is it makes people not want to take higher paying jobs unless they are higher enough paying
to cover all
to
the
cover
expenses.
the expenses, right?
Gotcha.
And so there's the capability of making more money, but in some cases it doesn't make sense because they're actually backwards.
Right.
Does that-
No,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense, and I see that a lot. I mean, we're straight up middle class, and so sometimes I feel like that is like we make enough or too much money to qualify for any like other programs, but we're not killing it, and that, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
when it comes to, I have to pay attention to my budget.
Yeah.
And so is that kind of the same thing where it's like they kind of fall in the middle of making good money but not great money sort of thing?
Well, they don't make enough to cover all of their expenses now, right? And
Right.
they get some sort of assistance, but then they could make more money, but that amount of more money, they lose all of those benefits.
So people put together programs to try to offset that?
People put together programs to try and offset that, or job placement programs to help figure out like what is a good fit for you, or additional training. Like if you got this certificate, you would jump up this much higher, right? Like so much higher that you're not going to have that gap.
Right.
You're not going to have that cliff.
What are these jobs that if you get a higher paying thing, they just drop off benefits altogether? Do a lot of places do that?
It's not necessarily like a job specific, right? It's like a pay.
It would be
specific
government
thing.
assistance, though, that what you're talking about,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in that case, in the case of the cliff effect, right? I had no idea that this was even a thing. So there's all sorts of programs that we're open to looking at grant opportunities for. Anything that is in relation to women and children in Central Florida is open for discussion.
And do they have events each week or each? I mean, how does it work? If somebody wants to get involved with this, oh, is that us coming to a break or coming to the end of this? Oh, okay. Well, actually, I still want to talk about that more when we get back.
Yeah.
So we'll be back with more BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Premier Couples Superstore. It's getting cooler out there, so time to cuddle up with your loved one, but first, a trip to Premier Couples Superstore. Premier Couples Superstore has got a huge selection of lingerie, shoes, toys, games, love oils, and a ton of great gifts. With Premier Couples Superstore, you don't pay those high prices because you go directly to the source. 5009 South OBT, or shop online at premiercouples.net, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Oh, yeah.
I'm such a girl. I'm going to just giggle every time he does that. So we're here with Krystal Morris, and she is the CEO of Mindful Media Group, which happens to be the advertising agency that I work for. So we're going to extend the networking news a little bit into this segment because we didn't really get a chance to finish. It just went by really, really fast.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't talk about the networking aspect of it.
Right.
So, like, how does someone get involved? What does that look like? What's the time commitment?
So you can be as involved or take a step back as you want, right? If you want to just say, hey, I want to donate my money and know that it's going towards a good cause and vote on what it goes towards, then you can do that. Or you can become part of a committee, leadership team, and do that as well. In terms of what we do, like when we meet, how it goes, we have a monthly breakfast, a membership breakfast every month. And so that's a fun thing to do. It's the last Friday of every month. It's at the Glass Knife in Winter Park.
I know you like that.
At 8 a.m. Yes, you should go.
I've never been.
It's so good.
I'll go.
Yeah.
So it's a Friday, right?
Yeah,
I
Friday
can
at
make
8
that work.
a.m. The last Friday of every month at 8 a.m. We don't have any more this year
Go
because
on. I'll go in
of the
January.
holidays. Yeah, so
Mhm.
starting again in January. But it's a great way to just meet really amazing, diverse group of women. That's how I got involved. Somebody I know, Patty, invited me to the breakfast, and she was like, "Hey, come! I think you would like this. Like, it's cool."
Patty from Grounded with Data, right?
With Data, yeah. Patty.
Who was the other Patricia? You have to tell that story real quick.
Patricia.
You might know Patricia because she's in BNI. but-
Okay.
Yes, so Patricia Burland, I think. She is the head of the Research and Grants Committee, and I think one of the first breakfasts that I went to, I sat next to her, and she is just like the most incredible woman ever. She is French. She has a nice thick French accent, which is always fun, and currently she does like life coaching or something. But in France, she was part of she was like a nuclear physicist, I believe, right? And then she did something with the university systems here in the U.S., bringing the nuclear physicist programs
This is
here
crazy,
to the U.S. Yeah, and so I guess the point of that is that it has just a wonderfully diverse group of women. Like, you never know who you're going to meet at these events.
And like you said, that's a good networking tool. Because,
Right.
I mean, you know that the quality of people that are going there are high. You know, they're going to be
Right.
good opportunities to meet some very successful business owners.
Right, and you come together with the focus of like making the world a better place, for like
Aw,
lack
that's
of
sweet.
like just being cheesy, right? Like, it's like you
I like
go
cheese. Cheese is
for like a
good.
philanthropic reason, right?
Right.
Like for the betterment of women in our community, which is awesome.
Well, the one thing that got brought up when we went to the summit thing was talking about the equal pay,
Mhm.
and a lot of it wasn't that organizations weren't offering they wouldn't offer equal pay, a man versus a woman. Women weren't
Asking.
and that was the big thing. I think I've told that story
Mhm.
before, where it's like, you have a job, the salary is $100,000. The guy goes in there and asks for 120. The girl goes in there and asks for 80. You know what I mean? But she's cutting herself short. But so it's like, in our minds, getting our value up and knowing that we're worth that, and not ever feeling that we don't have the right to ask that much. Because I don't know about you guys, but especially in like this industry, it's like you asking, for a certain price for something. In sales, it's like, that this is your scale of what you can sell it for. When you go in, it's like, if I say too much, then they're going to just walk out. If I don't say enough, and they're like, "Oh, I would have paid more," so it's
Mhm.
knowing
Right.
enough to ask for the right amount.
Right.
And that, like I said, that kind of leads us like into the whole agency world. So, as a commission salesperson, I've never that I can think of financially had to deal with not getting paid as much as a man because I'm 100% commission
Mhm.
and I have been for the last 15, 20 years. But I know it happens, right? Have you had a salary job prior?
Yeah.
Where did you work? What was the salary?
When I moved over to the agency side, it was salary based.
Oh, so you didn't get paid on
It was
like
salary plus bonuses for just performance, like performance bonuses on my client's behalf.
right, but you knew you guys did good, so you
Oh,
could
I
kinda,
killed it.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. What about you? Worked for a salary job before,
Oh yeah,
right?
oh yeah. And the first time when you were talking about how you don't really think women don't think to ask for a higher amount, the first time that I realized that was even a thing, it was on accident. Like I was looking for a job and I was about to get hired and I said I needed this certain amount just to pay bills. Like I was giving them the real number and he tried to say, "Oh, well, let's start you out at this lower thing and then we'll get there." And I was like, "I can't take it. Then I can't take it." And he was like, "Okay, we'll start you at the higher thing." And I'm like, "Oh,
You're like, what just happened?
okay. Well, now I know that you can ask for." So I took that with the job that I have now and did the same thing. I was like, this time I was like, this is what I want to make.
Right.
Not, this is what I have to
want.
make. This
Right.
is what I want to make.
Right.
And
So, question to the both of you: if you were given the opportunity to say, "Okay, it's a great job. You want the job," and you had a choice between getting paid a salary and knowing that you're going to make a certain amount, or getting a lower salary but the ability to make commission, or to make it a little bit harder, 100% commission, which would you pick? So it's either you're going to make this flat fee, never a penny more, or you can make the sky's the limit, but without that salary base. It's a hard question.
I mean, yeah, I think it has a lot to do with people's personality types too. So to me, stability is really important. So if the dollar amount is a number, that's really good to me.
Yeah.
And especially if the people are good. Like it's not really about the money. It's more like if I'm working for good people and they're paying me well, like that's going to keep me content. I'm not like a money
Right.
type person.
What about you?
I have like that competitive side where I'm like, I can do it. I can do more.
Yeah.
Right? So like even when I was just straight, it wasn't even just straight salary. It was salary plus, right, performance. And so I went in looking at it like, okay, well, I know like this is my base essentially, right? Like my salary is the base, and then just growing and improving client performance over time that I would see bonuses, and they were tied to that. And so that was something that I worked towards and was very successful at. And so I like being able to have that control.
That's
So,
always
like
for me, too.
control over your own destiny, right?
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, like my husband and I, we, before we had kids, like we want to go on this trip. Let's make the money to do it.
Right.
you know?
Exactly.
So
So I don't think I could ever take a salary job. I just don't think I have it in me for somebody to say, this is what you're going to make and this is all you're going to make. And even if it's a good number, I'm always thinking about the what ifs. And I think that it would take away my drive to supersede. I
Like
would be like,
grow.
okay, I was like, okay, we have a budget. I'll make budget. And then I'll be like, okay,
Oh.
but if it's like, I get paid on everything that's done, then I'm like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
So. So in the agency world, so let's talk about Mindful Media Group just for a minute, because I know we're probably going to have to go to break in a second. When did you, tell us about your agency history.
Okay. So I actually started on the media side, right? So I worked at a radio station.
Like
I
me.
did radio sales.
We
and-
worked for competing
I didn't
companies.
know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, not in this building. I shouldn't say that out loud, right?
You can. She worked for CBS. I'm pointing it out.
Yeah, which is not a thing anymore. CBS is not a thing. They've been bought multiple times over.
Oh, so you kind of eased into that.
Okay.
But okay, so you worked for CBS.
So I worked for CBS, then I went over to a direct response agency in Winter Park. I worked there for a number of years. They closed their doors, and I said,
right.
let's.
All right, we're going to
Start
get the
my own
rest of
thing.
that when we get back from break, so stay tuned.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Body Street of Winter Park. Experience the future of fitness at Body Street in Winter Park. Lose weight, build muscle, tone your body in only 20 minutes a week. Visit bodystreet.us, where fitness meets efficiency. I'm sore as could be right now, and my butt muscles are really sore today because I kept pulling the little thing down, and he was turning it up, and I was just like, ooh. I'm gonna have to do you still have the video we did?
I think so, maybe somewhere.
Okay, because she videoed us, but I have a feeling that we were pretty hilariously not doing it right or just being super shocked the whole time.
I made a lot of faces. I just started screen capturing. I'm like, this probably isn't going to go in any advertisement for that.
Oh, so we're talking with Krystal Morris, and she's the CEO of Mindful Media Group, which is a full-service ad agency. And so she kind of skipped past a little quick about her previous history. So you worked in media, and then from there, you were hired by a direct response advertising agency.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about that time there, because that's where you really got the bulk of your experience, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a direct response advertising agency in Winter Park. They're no longer there. We had big national accounts. So I always like to use this as an example just because it's one that everybody recognizes. But it was probably about 12, 15 years ago where all of those mesothelioma commercials were all over TV. And it was like, if you or a loved one have been diagnosed with mesothelioma, I ran all of those campaigns across the entire country.
Oh, wow.
And the whole goal behind it was to get people to dial a very specific phone number, call, and file a claim to get payment for, a loved one's pain and suffering or even death.
Is that a form of cancer?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I figured.
Lung cancer. And so, there was a lot that went into building out a national campaign on that scale. It was, people would get payouts of millions of dollars, right? And so the law firm that handled those cases was very specific about, we need to pay X number of dollars for a lead, X number of dollars for a qualified lead. They let us know how many of those turned into actual cases, what the payouts of some of those were, all while being HIPAA compliant because it's dealing with, patients' medical information in some cases if they're living still.
Right.
And then, looking at certain markets in terms of, high frequency markets for mesothelioma cases. And so they were typically things like, shipyards, right? Where they were blowing in insulation and things, lots of asbestos, anything that was asbestos related is essentially mesothelioma focus.
So since it's that was a direct response, that's a perfect example of what a direct response campaign is, because the call to action is call this number.
Call now.
And you got held accountable for that call
Yes.
for now because they did a whole thing. So some other traditional types of advertising agencies are not direct response. And so how would you describe them? As just kind of like a set it and forget it? Or, what is the difference would you describe between a direct response and a regular traditional agency?
So what I consider a traditional agency, they will present you with like, hey, you're, Melissa, your company wants to reach this many people. We will get your commercials out this many times, 100 times, and it will reach 1 million people. Thanks. Right? Can I have your money? Right? And then so you hand over your money. They do exactly what they said they were going to do. Your commercial reached that many people, and it was played the number of times that they said. And thanks, have a nice day, right? Hope it worked for you. Fingers crossed, right? Versus a direct response agency that is optimizing the campaign based upon sales. And so in some cases, it's really easy, like call this phone number, and that's a a direct like a connection, a direct communication. They called this unique phone number that was dedicated to the campaign. In other cases, it's not so easy to determine that, right? We look at things like web lift. So we do web lift studies. We place pixels on websites. We look at overall traffic numbers, traffic volume, There's all sorts of
So a pixel on a website is just like a
little piece of code
that will pick up how many times that website's clicked on.
Yeah, yes. And in some cases, like where those clicks came from.
So it can tell the URL or whatever the what is it, the AP address or whatever, like it came from Angela Smarito's cell phone.
Sometimes, right? In some cases, it's just like, hey, we ran this campaign on
Facebook,
right?
yeah.
So it like the click came from Facebook.
Right.
That click that came from Facebook converted to a sale, right? Or that click that came from Facebook did not convert to a sale, right? And so that's something that we look at, like what is actually converting to a sale, what's driving. So taking it a step back, what's driving interest, right? Oh yeah, we saw 10 Facebook clicks. That's great, right? Of those 10 Facebook clicks, how many of them turned into a sale? Only 3. What was the creative that ran on those 3, right? Oh, look, all 3 of those sales came from creative A, right? So like ad A with a certain design. The other 7 were from ad B.
Right.
So ad B isn't converting to sales, right? So like, hey, let's scrap ad B altogether. Let's only run ad A because those convert at a higher rate. And so that's the difference between direct response and just a general market agency, because we will go in and we'll look at what's performing and what's not performing and make adjustments based upon that.
So I see like on digital platforms is that I wouldn't say it's easier because I know that there's you have to know how to do all this stuff. But with my background in radio, one of the biggest challenges that I had was, what is my ROI going to be? What is what is my return on investment? I had, as a radio rep and just radio in general, had a very hard time trying to tell somebody what their ROI is. So I mean, but you've told me, specific things that you can do that was fascinating, that you had the ability to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So I run a radio campaign. My KPI, my key performance indicator is like, let's say, building traffic or website traffic. So how do you take those radio ads and tell that client this worked or this didn't work?
So with what we can call traditional media, right? Like radio, TV, those are very, very traditional media types. We look at spot times and web traffic. And so there's attribution models that we will throw in all of the spot times. So your commercial ran at 9:02, it ran at 10:37, it ran at, 11:25. We put those exact times in and we run it against all web traffic. And we look at what a typical baseline of traffic is without running the ads. So what does your traffic look like when ads are not running, right? So we need that baseline. And then what happens to your web traffic when an ad hits, right? So like in a lot of cases, it's crazy. You can see, a commercial plays on, XYZ radio station or TV station. TV, there's like a direct correlation with TV and web traffic because people sit and watch TV with their tablets and their phones in their hands, right?
True. Yeah.
So you're like, you see something you like on TV and you immediately, you Google it or you type in the web address. And so we look at things like direct traffic, which is you typing in the web address directly.
www.
Yes, exactly. or organic search, right? Because we don't want to take credit for paid search, even though paid search does get affected by it. But organic search, so people looking for it and then they find it and they click on it. And so when those numbers increase at a specific time that correlates with a TV commercial airing, for instance, then we can say that we're, confident that those visitors are from the TV spot or the radio spot. And then we can follow the activity of those particular visitors.
Right. See, that's brilliant. But then I also think that you can actually attribute like the ones that are being successful. Like if you buy multiple stations, you can like I said, these ones worked on this station, but we didn't see any lift on this station. So we cut that station. We put more of that money on the good one, the happy one.
Yeah.
So, so there is actually a way to track radio. I was always told that there wasn't, but there is. All right, music means we're going to break, and when we get back, we're going to talk more with Krystal. So stay tuned.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. With the changing of the seasons, now is a good time to get your irrigation system serviced. So call Ground Up Property Services today. It's a very good idea to ask Rick Hall with Ground Up about a water sensor so your lawn doesn't get too much water. And don't forget about the lawn painting service. If you're planning an outdoor event and you want to hide those brown spots on the lawn, call 407-468-4295 or visit groundupinc.net. Got to see Rick Hall today. He's been a sponsor since day one. You'd love him. He's the nicest guy ever. And I think I'm finally getting him to join BaaD.
Are you really? I
think
thought
so.
he was never going to do it.
I know. I mean, he has to understand that it's going to change his business. He is in irrigation and stuff like that. It will change his business because he will get referrals from everybody, but from all the realtors. Anyway, I think Rick probably get tired of me asking him, so he's just like, I'm just going to join, so she leaves me alone. So we're here with Krystal Morris, and she is the CEO of Mindful Media Group, which is a direct response agency here in the Orlando market. But that doesn't mean that she just buys media in the Orlando market. You have experience buying media all over the world, don't you?
In a lot of places, the entire U.S., Canada, Mexico, some South American countries, Australia, UK.
That's crazy. I think and languages too, right?
Oh yeah. One day I made a list because I was like, I wonder how many languages I've actually bought media in, and it was like 22 different languages, which is really, really interesting. You end up calling like these teeny tiny little like mom and pop radio stations in different markets and cities that like are hyper targeted for, a very specific.
Well, let's talk
language.
About that because I know that you've told me a story about trying to reach like with a census thing, and I was just blown away and very impressed on how you did that. So let's hear that one.
Yeah. So I worked on a campaign for the New York City census when the census was taking place a couple of years ago, and they came to me and they said, "Hey, we're having trouble reaching minority communities who don't speak English." And I said, "Well, what languages?" Right? And they came back to me with a list of languages, including like Yiddish and Punjabi and like Greek and you name it. It was just a really eclectic mix of languages. But when you think about New York City, you're like, okay, yes, this makes sense.
Right.
So that was the first layer that they asked for, and I said, okay, yeah, let's do that. We can find these people. We can find these people digitally, right, based upon like what language they have their browsers set to. We can figure that out. There's also, very specific publications in New York City, right? So like print and radio. And then they said, okay, well, also we're having a hard time reaching people who live in like illegal basement apartments.
I can imagine that they don't want to be found.
Yeah, they don't want you to know that they're there. And they're like, but we know that they're there and we're not doing anything about it. We just want to know how many people are here because we need to count for the census, right? The census has all sorts of implications to major cities, right? And any city, just in terms of government funding and things like that. And so, I use the example like, do you want to reach somebody who speaks Hindi in a legal basement apartment? Like, I'm your girl. I can help you find.
I wouldn't even know where to start.
So, I mean, it's a lot of data mining, right? Like finding where these people are and what opportunities you have to reach them. A lot of what we talk about is like a day in the life of your consumer, right? So I always use myself as an example because I consume a lot of media just as like a woman and a mom and just a person.
On a regular day.
Right? And so I always say like, okay, well, think about your consumer, like a day in the life of your consumer. I wake up in the morning, I check the weather. How do I dress my kids today? Right? Am I going to have the argument of like pants or shorts? Because that's a real thing,
Been
right?
there. There.
Then so I check the weather. I do that sometimes on my phone. Sometimes I turn on the TV. Sometimes we ask Alexa or whatever other devices, so those are interactions with media. We play music in the morning. We're very like a musical household. My kids love music. So sometimes there's ads depending upon what music we're listening to. Sometimes there's not. Then we get in the car. I turn on the radio. More ads. We're driving by 15 billboards on their way to school. more ads. I check my email before I head,
Oh,
back.
you have a couple buses that go by you too.
Right. Oh yeah. Buses, bus stops, like you name it. Right. And so then I check my email and I have like ads in my email. I sit at my computer. I'm on social media. I'm on, other websites. I get inundated with ads, and people don't realize, like, when you're putting together a media campaign, think about how you reach your consumer throughout their day. The average consumer needs to be touched by a brand 15 times before they even begin to recognize it. And that's not even like, hey, I'm going to do business with this company. It's oh yeah, I think I've seen them before.
Okay.
That's it. That's like the bare bones, like 15 times.
I remember they used to say like it was 3, then it was 7, now it's 15.
Yeah.
Krystal has a media funnel that is, like I said, when I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's so much stuff to look at. But I've been really impressed on how many people we presented it to that wanted to talk about the funnel. And you can describe what the funnel is, but it literally is a funnel. It's it's upside down triangle.
Yeah, and it starts off at awareness, right? So like you have to just build brand awareness, and then the bottom of the funnel is point of purchase or sale or whatever your goal is, right? And so how do you get people from the top of the funnel at awareness all the way down to the point of sale? And so there are different types of media that associate with the different levels of the funnel, and they all serve a purpose. There are some that cross over multiple layers of the funnel. For example, like social media crosses over multiple layers of the funnel. What you do to reach them at different layers is vary your messaging, right? And so the way you speak to somebody about just like being aware of your brand is different than the way you speak to them when you're like, buy this right now, right? And so a lot of the time you have to do the awareness, right? Like, hey, we're here, look at this cool thing that we have, enough times to be able to push them down through the funnel to the point of purchase.
And that's sort of an ideal world, is for a business to have enough money to be able to incorporate all the different funnels. But say we're talking about a business that doesn't have a huge marketing budget. What kind of recommendations, and let's say it's a service based. Actually, no, let's do it's a brick and mortar. So what would be some of the recommendations that, like a store that just opened up and they might have a budget of a couple $1,000s a month? How would you go about analyzing them and trying to determine what's the best course of action for them?
So with a brick and mortar, I mean, first and foremost, you need to be found online. You have to be able, like, people have to be able to find you, because you cannot rely solely on people driving by and
literally
being like,
any business,
right?
Yeah,
right. But you cannot rely solely on people driving by and saying like, oh yeah, hey, look, that's a new store.
Right.
I'm gonna stop in. Like, I'm busy. I'm like, I might notice it's a new store, but unless I know exactly what it is, I'm right.
Or me, like 2 months later, hey, that looks new.
Right. Oh, it's been there for a year, Melissa.
Yeah, that building's now purple. It used to be green. Like, what is that, right?
Exactly.
So your online presence is, like you said, for any business, right, is really important. But being able to
creating a Facebook business page is free, right?
Creating a Facebook business page is free. Putting regular content on your page is something that you can do. You don't have to pay anybody to do it. You just have to be consistent about it. You have to answer questions when people ask you questions. Make sure your profile is completely filled out, right? So you have your hours and your address and your phone number and all of those things on there.
Right.
And then Google
Google
business page. Google business page. Yeah.
Right. So, you know what? I wish we had another hour to talk, but you know what? You're going to be on the show more. So, for more marketing information, then you know what? You can call me, but let's go ahead and give out all your contact info.
Yeah. So, Krystal Morris, it's Krystal, Krystal, at mindfulmg.com. Or, like Angela said, you can reach out to Angela, too.
Yeah, I work for her. We're good. You go ahead and give your info.
You can find me at Melissa at strikingbrand.com, or strikingbrand.com is the website.
All right. Well, stay tuned, because we have another full hour of BaaD Radio, and we have Gatorland in the house. Woohoo! All right, you guys, thank you so much, and we will be back, so stay tuned.
You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
My compliments, little lady.
Come on, Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Welcome back as we launch into the second hour of BaaD Radio. I'm going to run through all the regular info for those of you who might have just joined us. I am Angela Smerito, your host, and we've got our co-host and videographer, Melissa Jacob.
Hello, hello, hello.
Melissa has her own business. It's called Striking Brand. And if you go to baadradio.com, and it's BAAD radio, not like, then you get to see all the previous episodes of the show. And if you do go to strikingbrand.com, you can see all of her other work because she is a photographer as well as a videographer. So I have a very exciting guest today. We have Gatorland. We have my good friend Brandon Fisher with Gatorland in the house.
Yes.
And I asked him, I was like, what exactly is your title? And he was like, it is Director of Media Relations at Gatorland.
Or you can call me the Gator Expert.
The Gator Expert.
That's what's on your shirt, so I'm going with that.
Yep.
Does it say Gator Expert on
Yeah.
it?
It's easy.
Oh, okay.
It's easy
Sure
for
does.
everybody.
Oh, how long ago did we meet, Brandon? Because it's been a hot minute.
At least, what, since 2017, right? When I
Probably
took over this position, maybe a little bit before.
Well, you know what? I meant so when you took over that position, but did you work for Gatorland prior to
Oh, yeah.
that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
think it was probably even before that
Yeah.
because I started working with Gatorland at like 2015, 2016.
Yeah, it could have been that, definitely.
And so Brandon is the one who comes with all the critters. So let's tell me a little bit about the history of Gatorland, because most Floridians know what it is, and it's like a staple. It's like it's just fantastic.
Definitely. If you want to see gators in or Orlando or in Central Florida, you come to Gatorland. So we've been open since 1949.
I didn't realize it was that long.
22 years BD before Disney. Okay? So one of Florida's original attractions, and we sit on about 110 acres of property. We got a little over 3,000 alligators and crocodiles, a bunch of other animals, do shows. We have a zip line that goes over gators and crocodiles, a big swamp buggy ride, which is like a monster truck ride, and just a lot of fun for families.
And the funny thing is like anything that I've ever seen that talks about Florida and the history of Florida always has the entrance with the gator with his mouth like that.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Iconic.
How long has that been there?
So so who founded Gatorland, his name was Owen Godwin, and one of his sons, Frank Godwin, who used to be our CEO, and his son-in-law is now our CEO, designed that and had it copyrighted, trademarked back in the 60s.
Has anybody ever been like, we need to update that, we need to make it better, and everybody's like, no, we need to keep it?
No, it stayed pretty much the same. So we had a fire back in 2006 that burnt down our main gift shop.
Oh no!
Back then, yeah. So nothing crazy. That is kind of crazy, but nothing crazy. That survived. The gator mouth survived. So it just needed a few new extra layers. And every once in a while, we got to go out there and touch up paint, and touch up the lettering and all that, because everybody comes to get a picture. That's iconic.
I know.
Some people don't even just come into the park. They just stop by to recreate a photo
It's
from
kind of
how
like
long
down
ago.
in Key West. It's that thing at right
The
at Key
buoy.
The southernmost.
The
Yeah.
buoy, yeah. Yeah,
Everybody's got to have a Gatorland, and they have to have that one.
definitely.
That's crazy. And so it's still a family-owned business, right?
Still family owned and operated, actively 3 generations working in the park. So, yeah.
And how far away from it is it now than when it originally started? Because I feel like you guys just have kept that feel for Gatorland since the beginning.
So it's definitely real Florida and real not giant park feeling busyness, to that's around in this area. But Gatorland's definitely changed. We used to, when first opened, it was only 16 acres of property. Now we're 110.
Okay.
There used to be just a couple buildings. Now there's more. We have the shows, more animals. So it's definitely changed over these years, but we still want to keep it that at home, low key, real Florida feeling.
And it does. You guys do a good job with that. Now I know they did add like a splash zone, which was cool for the kids.
Oh yeah.
So what's that mean?
It's Gator Gully Splash Park, so it's just like a bunch of water features you can run through, get wet,
Oh,
cool
okay.
down, all
Oh,
that.
nice.
We've had that for a handful of years. It's changed a little bit over the years, and then of course we added the zip line and the swamp buggy ride the last handful of years to account for extreme stuff.
I've done the zip line, and it's absolutely amazing. I loved it. My son Aiden wasn't so crazy about the fact that we were up at the top getting ready to go, and you could feel yourself sway a little bit with the wind.
I thought you were talking about with the splash zone. I know that you guys feed the alligators. I've seen that too. And then they like jump up. I was thinking it had something to do with them jumping splash. I'm like, that's a little close.
I do have a funny story
That's
about
a little
that
close.
too. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
That's the one that's been there for that event has been part of Gatorland for a while now.
The Gatorland Jumperoo Show. So it's been our oldest show going on since 1983. Jumping is a natural behavior for gators, crocodiles. They jump up to grab birds and whatever out of the low-hanging branches and trees. So we just reinforce that behavior. So it's a show, to showcase how well they can jump out of the water into the air. They grab chicken out of our trainers' hands. The show's kind of taken different turns over the years. When it first started, it was just a one-man show. Hey, look what I can do. And then, when I first started Gatorland, it changed to two characters named Bubba and Cooter, who were vying for a job at Gatorland to be one of the gator trainers. And they had it was a contest who could feed the gators the fastest and like that. So it's still kind of like that. It's going to be changing again here soon, with times and stuff and seeing a different turn. But we still, got Bubba and Cooter vying for a job.
It's a good name.
Yep.
Which one are you?
I'm the original OG Bubba. So, I played him for our commercials and some of our YouTube videos and stuff. And unfortunately, Cooter's gone now. The guy that played Cooter, good friend still. So Bubba comes out every once in a while, but he's not a big main part anymore.
Right. I remember everybody would recite the commercials. It's Bubba and Cooter.
Yep. Definitely.
I love that. So the jumping thing, is it the alligators or the crocodiles that jump higher and are more likely to jump?
It depends on species, but crocodiles typically jump a little higher. There's one species. We actually have them there at Gatorland. They're called Cuban crocodiles. Pretty endangered in the world. There's not a lot of many on the island of Cuba, and they're smaller, but they can still get over 10 feet long. And they are known to jump 6-7 feet out of the water into the air. One of their main diets, one of their main prey items is a tree-dwelling mammal there on the island of Cuba, so they got to be able to jump up and grab them off the branches.
Well, because I know you've done it, how do you determine how high it's going to jump, or, you know what I mean? Or like I said, how do you learn that?
It took some time to definitely learn and adjust. First learning how to do that, I'm not going to lie, there's a handful of times where I just dropped it. I was like, nope, can't do this, But you get comfortable over time and you learn, and everyone's different. And, where they jump, that water's not very deep. It's probably about 4 or 5 feet deep.
But how do they get the thrust then to do that
so
without having to make a charge up?
So think of like a kangaroo when you sometimes see them sit back up on their tail and they kick their legs out. So if they can touch the bottom of the floor in the pond, the lake, river, whatever, they can use their tails to kind of sit back on it and spring up. If it's too deep and they can't touch, they just swim that tail back and forth, and that just gives them all that power to launch out.
I think it'd be neat to see that from underneath.
Oh yeah,
from underwater. That would be cool to be able to have a little viewing thing that you could go under and actually watch that. It would be really neat,
yeah. And I know there's some places in Australia where they show that and they have clearer water, than what
I'm
we
going
do.
to Google a video of it. Now I'm just curious what it looks like.
They can jump up, and over there, even the saltwater crocodiles in Australia, they get them jumping. They can jump really high too.
I know that we were there when Aiden was still in diapers, and we were watching the Jumperoo, and he was too close to looking like that hunk of chicken that they are holding. You know what I mean? Because he's and I was just holding him, and I'm backing away, and I was like, oh, that's just not good. But they look like dinosaurs to me. They literally look like something from Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Yep.
And I know they all have personalities too, right?
They definitely do. It's not a personality where it's like your dog or cat cuddling up to you or whatever, but they like who they like. They don't like who they like. They, show excitement sometimes. It's weird.
That's cool.
Yeah. I want to talk about that a little bit more because in my mind, I think of reptiles as just machines.
Yeah.
They eat food, they go to the bathroom, they make more. All right. We're going to go to break, so we'll be right back with more BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Frogger's Grill and Bar. Are you looking for a good gift idea for a friend, a family member? How about the gift of food and fun? I'm talking about a gift card for Frogger's Grill and Bar. Right now, if you buy a $100 gift card, you get a $20 gift card for free. So you get a gift for them, and then you get one for yourself.
Nice.
Yep. And then also for a limited time, if you book a party of 10 or more, Monday through Wednesday, you get 20% off food. And that's huge. It's like 20% off food. That does not account for alcohol, though. And don't miss out on Frogger's amazing menu where everything is fresh, never frozen. Oviedo, Mount Dora, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. Frogger's, hop in with food and fun. All right, we are here with Brandon Fisher with Gatorland. And so we
The
were
Gator expert.
the Gator expert. So you said that you started, what year did you say you started again? You said 2015 or 17. I can't remember now.
In this position, as the director of media relations, well, I took over in 2017 from my mentor, Tim Williams, who'd been there for 30 plus years. But I started Gatorland 18 years old, 2 weeks after graduating high school in 2004.
Nice.
Yes. First ever job.
Did you like, I'm going to make a career out of this?
Nope.
Did
not
you
at
have
all.
friends that worked there?
Nope, not at all. I actually went and just I picked up my brother, who's about 4 years younger than me, from his school, and one of my former teachers, because we went to the same middle school, was outside of there, and asked her to be a job reference, for applications. And
I love that.
she said, "Hey, we're hiring at Gatorland because you work there part time in the summer." I went and applied, and all they had open was a position in entertainment, so the guys that do the shows there. And I auditioned, and the rest is history.
Sorry.
I was gonna say it's just like it sounds so random. Like, did you watch Animal Planet a lot when you were?
I mean, I was a kid.
Like,
I was a kid that caught stuff and brought it in the house and terrorized, my brother and parents. But
that makes sense.
yeah, I honestly wanted my favorite animal all time are wolves, gray wolves, timber wolves, all that.
My
So,
daughter too.
Yeah, I thought I would love to do some kind of work like that, and now it's just alligators and reptiles.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Y'all could probably get a wolf in there or something.
Yeah, maybe down the road we'll see.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we started to talk about the personalities. So let's talk about the animals
Okay.
right now. What are all the different various animals that you have in Gatorland? Because there's obviously gators, and I'm assuming there's crocodiles.
So
too.
many.
A lot. So gators, crocodiles, caiman, those cover all your crocodilians. We got different species of snakes. We got different species of lizards, birds. We got 2 1-year-old panthers, Florida panther or mountain lion, cougar,
What
puma.
was the cat that you brought to the studio before?
Long time ago, that was Jabari. He's an African serval. He's still there.
Serval.
Oh, okay.
He's still
you
there.
said
yeah.
it like it's past tense.
No,
I was
no,
like,
no. Yeah, he's still there. He's paired up with a female bobcat on display, and they switch. They share an exhibit with 2 male bobcats, but they go on separately because the boy bobcats do not get along with
girl,
Jabari.
he was beautiful.
Yeah,
Just long and skinny. I mean, he reminded me of what is the one that runs so fast?
Cheetahs?
Cheetah.
Yeah,
But like
kind of same spotting kind of on their fur. So servals are cool. They can jump like 15 feet in the air and grab a bird mid-flight.
That's awesome.
Right out of the air.
that was a cool experience.
So then the bobcats, the serval, the 2 panthers. We got oh man, gotta go
Turtles.
through it. Turtles,
Spider- we
tortoises,
got-
spiders, scorpions.
Tarantulas.
Yeah. We got super viral now in today's world, capybaras.
Okay.
Capybaras, however you want to say it, the world's largest rodent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that is.
It is crazy.
They're kind of cute.
Yeah, a
How big
lot.
of a rodent is it?
I mean, males can get up to
right?
100 pounds.
Oh God!
Yeah.
I think I think
like-
most of the ones I've seen have just been like,
Yeah, young ones, but
Okay.
a
I'm looking
full-grown
at the
adult.
babies.
Yeah, full-grown adult, 100 pounds. They're from South America. They're aquatic, so they swim, and they're just like super cute, super viral. I mean, we do an experience with them 6 days a week, so guests can come in and pet them and feed them. And when I'm saying viral, we have people who are calling crying because they want to see them so bad, or
gosh.
it's the day we're not doing the experience because we got to give them a break,
Right.
And they're crying because that's the only day they can be here and they don't get to see them, and it's wild. absolutely wild. But they're cool. They're cute. And
how did you start? How did you start your interaction with them and the training, and how does that all go?
Oh, there's different ways, So we have our entertainment guys who take care of a lot of the gators and crocodiles and stuff like that in the park, and then you have our whole separate animal care team, our ladies who take care of the capybaras, the petting zoo, and a bunch of other animals as well. So, different training times, different techniques that that we use to work on getting them comfortable around people. The capybaras are pretty easy. For example, they're just wanting to get pet and loved on.
Oh, that's so cute.
That is sweet.
I mean, they'll roll over and let you pet their belly. I mean, it's like
right away.
It's like a dog. It really is.
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
So, but they eat everything that is green. If it's green, it is gone.
Do they have really short lifespans though, like rats and
no,
stuff?
I mean they can live like 20, 25 years.
Well, dang,
so
that's a long time.
It's a good long life. Yep, and we have 4 of them. Actually, sorry, take that back. We have 6 of them. We just got 2 new babies that are waiting to go out with the other 4, but they're all siblings, just from different litters and years. So
right.
Yep.
It's just crazy because you guys you are an entertainment park, but you're a zoo as well. So there's that whole thing. What I've always loved about Gatorland, though, is just that it's like something that you can do for a day and just go, if you're looking for something to do with the family, because it's priced really well, especially for Florida residents. What are you guys at right now?
So we're half off for Florida residents. It's $32, $33.99. Maybe went up to $34.99. If you're not Florida resident, that's what it is. So half off of that for adults.
That's just really affordable
so,
for a day of fun. And
really, the price it costs for one person to go to a big park, a family 4 can get into.
Yeah, it's the same as like a meal at a fast food place now.
Oh,
right?
Honestly,
crazy.
You can go to Frogger's today and get 2 tacos for $6.
I mean, that's what you need to do. Honestly, serious.
You should go on Wednesdays. It's like $7 burger days, and their burgers are like huge. Massive.
So when you're training them, it's going to go back to her question about like their personalities and stuff. Is that like, do they all kind of like, do you have, I'm assuming you have a system to where you start training?
Yeah. So, I mean, as far as like the gators go for training, there's, they're reptiles. So they don't have the biggest brain, of course, for alligators, the brain's about the size of a walnut. So it's not very big, but they've been here since the dinosaurs. They're surviving and are going to continue to survive. So they know and they learn over time different behaviors. So as far as training them, it's like us getting them to stop or move to one point. We can get them to open up their mouths.
It's all food motivating.
A big part of it is definitely, I mean, that goes with training with a lot of different animals, food motivation. And positive reinforcement for them. So, we all have our favorites. My favorites are biggest in the park. His name's Buddy. He's about 13 feet, 8 inches and 1,200 pounds. He's a big boy.
But the question is are you his favorite?
I don't know. I mean, I hope I am. He perks up a little differently when I call him compared to other people.
Really?
And we all have that. Yep. So some of the gators respond differently when we're calling them, and then they all learn the tone of our voices, calling their name, and they'll come to us. We call them, they'll swim over and see us. So definitely food is a big part to that, but we developed this relationship with over.
Can you really train a snake though? Snake?
You can. I mean, we so there's a protected species of snake here in Florida called the Eastern indigo.
Okay.
And we used to have one way back in the day. Once that one passed away, we're not allowed to get any more because of the protection laws on them and such. And so we had that one trained where to eat. So point a lizard or a laser and you go to that spot and get fed. So there's different training techniques. It's not all just sit, stay, heel, that kind of stuff. It's where to move, where to go, train into, if we got to transport and move into like a big crate, move it in safely, things like that.
So you said that they can know the tone of your voice and stuff. Like, do they know when they're in trouble and stuff? Like when my dogs hear a certain voice and they're like, I'm just going to run to the other side of the house.
Tuck the tail, the ears go down. Not really,
No.
There's not too many of us that are going to sit there and,
Scold an alligator.
you're not behaving today, buddy.
be funny, though.
but he could take me in one bite.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is like they got to have that mutual respect. Savannah does some stuff on there that I don't even watch anymore because she makes me so nervous. All right. Well, stay tuned because when we get back, Brandon brought a friend. We're going to introduce him. So stay tuned for more BaaD Radio.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. Your home is one of your most important investments, so don't trust it to just anyone. LibertyPropertyInspections.net, helping you protect your investment. All right. So before break, we said that Brandon brought us a
We're
guest.
all excited.
I know. So who do we got in studio with us today?
All right, here we go. Big reveal. Amazing little alligator.
Oh my
We got right here. So this is Cheesecake, the albino alligator.
Literally so cute.
One of a handful we have there at the park.
Wow.
And she's hissing at us right now a little
She
bit.
doesn't like it.
She's feisty.
Where are her pupils
so
at?
They're there. You just can't see them. So being the fact that she's albino, she has complete loss of pigment. So no color at all. No pigment whatsoever.
Wow.
So those eyeballs are kind of like almost transparent.
But she can see okay, right?
She can see relatively good. I mean, it's for alligators in general, their strongest sense is their sense of feeling, vibration, stuff like that.
Right.
So sight isn't the best for them, but they can. Yeah.
She doesn't look real.
She looks like a little zombie gator.
Right.
She's so cute.
Yeah, put it
Little
up to the
different.
camera
Little
right here.
different.
Look at
Little
that.
I
different.
love it.
And then you can see those teeth in there.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
look
she's
how
gonna
cute they are.
bite you.
So
She's
if she bit down, like how bad would that hurt?
Right now, it's going to hurt pretty good.
Because they're like
She's-
razors, right?
I mean, they're sharp, and when they're first babies, they're only about 6 inches long. So this one's just over a year old.
She's only a year old.
Only a year old. So they hatch out of the egg 6 inches. In the first year, baby gators in general grow about 6 to 12 inches, and then it's about a foot a year for the next 5 or 6 years. But when they're first born, the teeth are very tiny. So that'd be like a bunch of little paper cuts. Right now,
Okay,
she's
got you.
gonna go a little deeper.
So she's
and
not she's gonna break skin, but she's
definitely
not gonna
break
like
skin.
break finger bones or
No,
anything.
can't take a bone or nothing like that.
Gotcha.
And even at this size, they'd be, in the wild would be eating minnows and insects and, maybe some small bugs.
What is the ratio of gators that actually make it in the wild? So from the time they're born, because I know everything eats them, from like birds and even other alligators.
So a female relatively will lay anywhere from about 35 to 40 eggs is the average in their nest.
And how often do they do that?
Once a year.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, once a year. And it happens, breeding season for alligators starts about the end of April, beginning of May. The whole rituals and courting happen for about a month and a half. And then mamas build their nest in about the end of May, beginning of June. And it takes about 60, 65 days for those eggs to hatch out. And then of that 35 to 40, only about 2 or 3 of them survive to become adult alligators. Yep.
But at Gatorland, was she born at Gatorland?
This one was not. This one was not. We acquired this one from another facility, and we have some adult albinos that we've had for a long time.
I've seen them before.
We're just hoping for them to have some babies. They have not yet.
But there's no guarantee that an albino alligator is going to have albino babies.
If it's a male and a female albino, there's definitely
100%, pretty much.
More than likely they're going to have albino babies. Yeah, I think it'd be rare for them to have a normal color baby. But some great news that we have that just broke this morning on our social media. So we have albino alligators there at Gatorland. We also have the blue-eyed big leucistic alligators. So leucistic alligators, the difference between albino and leucism. Albino, complete loss of pigment, no color. Leucism, they're missing some of the pigment. So the big male leucistic alligators that we have, they got blue eyes. They're white, but they have some dark patching on their skin, which is a normal pigment color of a gator.
She's like, I want out of here.
They were found in 1987 in Louisiana, hatching out as babies, and they were given to authorities. And ultimately, the Audubon Zoo had them.
Okay.
And we got them from the Audubon Zoo back in 2007. So there's only 7 of the leucistics in the world. We have 3 out of the 7. They're all brothers. They're all males. They're big, anywhere from about 10 to 12 feet long. But we have 2 females, and the gene to produce leucism happens in the female. And a long story short, we had a baby born this year.
Oh, wow.
So it happened back in August. We had to give it some time to make sure this baby's going to be okay
Right.
and healthy and
Yeah.
vet checked up. But we broke it this morning on social media.
Oh, so cool.
And we have a baby leucistic alligator, the
Aw.
first time ever born in human care, ever produced in human
Oh,
care.
that's
Aw,
awesome.
At Gatorland.
At Gatorland,
That's so
exactly.
cool.
So we're hoping, we're going to keep an eye on this baby, keep everything healthy, and we hope to have them out on display for everybody to see. But Cheesecake gets to come out and visit with everybody, especially this month during our holiday events that we have
Yeah,
going on.
I want to talk about that as
Yeah.
well. But how long will it take her to grow to full size?
So it's going to take her probably about another 10 to 15 years to get full grown for what she'll be. And that will be somewhere in the range of about 7 to 9 feet long.
Right. They're
Yep.
that's almost equivalent to like
A
humans.
human, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking
Yeah.
too.
And they can live just as long, 50 to 80 years is an average for in human care. In the wild, a little less, but these guys would never survive in the wild.
Now, what is she doing with this going on?
That's just regulating, her body temperature and part of her breathing.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So cute.
If I tried to pet her nose, would she bite me?
Possibly.
Might open up.
I'm not going to try. I was just curious.
I want to.
Well, we can, you can
Yeah.
hold her and feel her if you want to, pet her.
All right.
It's up to you guys.
Do you want to try?
You look very. I'm going to go over there too, so
Okay.
you don't have to move.
Okay,
You're
I want to
good.
watch.
Yep. It's real easy.
Right.
So you're going to hold it just like a remote control.
Okay, so everybody make sure that you're in
Right
front of
there.
the camera so
There you
you
go.
can see. Oh, I want to take a
just like that.
picture. So cute. Hang on, I'm not ready. Here. She's actually she looks so cute.
Yeah.
Adorable. I love her. Oh, just pet her little, like right between her eyes there. Oh,
Either one. You
true.
can hold one. You can hold one hand. Yep, go ahead.
You mean you don't? Oh, I definitely want to hold her as well. So is her name really Cupcake, or did you just make that up like
Cheesecake.
5 seconds? Oh,
No,
Cheesecake.
that's really her name. Yep. This is Cheesecake because she kind of looks like
Oh, what?
cheesecake.
Here, just I want to pet the back
Here.
part.
Let me just touch it
She's
from over here.
soft.
I know she's very cute.
And they're all soft like that. I mean, even as they become adults and grown up, they're going to be soft like that.
That's just fascinating. I mean, they really are fascinating because you said they've been around since dinosaurs, and that's just insane.
And they're really strong. Like she didn't really move around a lot, but I went to Gatorland. I was telling him off when we were on break that I brought my mom there and we did like a trainer for the day experience. It was so cool. She loved it so much. But they were bigger than that, but they're still pretty small and they are so strong. Like just that tail and everything starts moving. I'm like, okay, you have to actually pay attention.
90% muscle.
Yeah.
Very strong.
It's crazy.
Very strong. And one of the strongest bites of any animal, the entire animal kingdom.
Have you ever
So,
been bit?
I have by about one that was about 4.5, 5 feet. So,
You have all fingers though.
I got all 9. Yes, definitely. No, yeah.
Where'd it get you?
Just on the arm here. I got some little scars. So I mean, the bite initially was just a bite and let go, and so my scars are mostly for me kind of move
Well,
my arm
yeah,
out of the
because
way.
you have that reaction.
But I got lucky. It wasn't anything bad. Didn't need stitches. Nothing like that. But
It's bound to happen.
It is.
know?
We work with them. They're dangerous animals, potential. So it can happen. But we do everything in our power not to.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I know how much they love because you know how like some people are like, oh, animals in captivity. I've worked with Gatorland for so long. They love those animals.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and they are treated so phenomenally well. But they're so neat, and you know that they're loving life.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's alligator paradise. You know, if you're an alligator that can't be in the wild and you happen to get brought to Gatorland, you're golden for the rest of your life. You're born at Gatorland, which most of them aren't. You're golden for the rest of your
Spoiled.
life.
They don't even know it.
Definitely.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
How many a year are born?
We have anywhere from about, I'd say probably about 150 to 400 born every year. So on top of ones that we get there at the park, our own that lay them, we're part of 30 organizations, or what would be classified 30 establishments that have the proper licenses to go out with Fish and
Right.
Wildlife every year and collect wild eggs as population control.
So how do you, is that why you guys keep growing? Because like, what, I mean, it seems like if there's 100 something every year born, that sounds insane.
It does, but you got to imagine that they stay small like this forever. So we got a whole bunch of places that we can house them till they get big enough, and we provide we're the alligator capital of the world. We provide to other zoos, other facilities all over
that's
the United
right.
States and just here in Florida a lot.
Gotcha.
All right. So we have to go to break. And when we get back, I want to talk about the events that are coming up at Gatorland.
Sounds
so
good.
stay tuned.
Welcome back to BaaD Radio, brought to you by Premier Couple Superstore, because a couple that plays together stays together.
Welcome back. I want to give a huge thank you to our sponsor, Bolts Legal. Fear no storm with boltslegal.com. 33 Tanning Spa with locations in Altamont Springs and Longwood. Andrews Law PA, auto accident attorney. Crazy Muscle Nutrition and Castleberry. Imbalance Bodyworks in Lake Mary. And Forge IT Consultant. We had John Kennedy on last week, and we had a great show. Excuse me. So we are here for one last segment with Gatorland, and we've got Cheesecake in the house, and Melissa and I both got to hold her, and she's really sweet, and I really kind of love her. But really, for this segment, I want to talk about everything that's going on in Gatorland and why we should go.
Well, for one, like I mentioned, we just got this brand new baby that was born back in August and put it out there, so it's going to be a big hit once we get them out and on display for everybody to see.
When is that? When you're going to show her?
We're hoping by sometime of the first of the year to have them out and on exhibit. We'll see how that goes. Of course, we have an alligator that we rescued not too recently, Jolene, who's missing her whole top half of her jaw.
I saw I saw her on the news.
Yep. So she came to Gatorland and she's doing really well. She's eating for us. She's put on weight. Everybody's asking about her, and we're hoping to have her out with some baby alligators because she can't be with anything bigger than that.
Did they say what happened to her?
More than likely, it was a boat prop propeller that I think got that to her.
Was it Lake Jessup? Where was it at?
She was in a pond or in a lake up in Sanford. I don't think it was Lake Jessup. It was a smaller one.
Right. Okay.
And then we hope to have her on display with some baby gators in our baby gator marsh, hopefully by Christmas. We're just waiting on some more vet checkup on her and have the vet give the all clear, just in case. But on the weekends right now, we just passed our first weekend. We got 2 more weekends of it. So this one coming up and then the one after, our holiday ho 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 down event. It's a daytime event at Gatorland weekend. Just on Saturdays and Sundays, and the price that it costs to get in the park, you get to enjoy all the festivities we have. So we got some Christmas characters wandering around. You can get a picture taken with gator claws, Krampus Croc. We got our skunk ape out there singing Christmas carols.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and then you get to enjoy everything that the park has to offer. Plus that some outside vendors we got in, arts and crafts, food.
Very nice.
A lot of fun stuff.
But you still get to buy the hot dogs to feed the animals.
So we actually don't sell turkey dogs anymore to the alligators for guests to feed. We sell a special pellet called Croc Chow that is designed for gators and crocodiles to help supplement.
As long as you have something.
It's something good. Yeah.
I wonder if they're happy about that. So the turkey dog sounds better.
Turkey dogs are better than a regular hot dog.
Yeah.
But this pellet is designed specifically for them to help with that nutrition and supplement it.
Right.
And it floats.
They're getting all fat from all that.
It floats in the water so they can see it
nice.
and they can pick it up. It's not going to sink. And our guests probably enjoy it better because we have a lot of wild birds that were going after people with turkey dogs.
I remember one time I threw one out and it landed on a gator's head and it got stuck there.
Yeah, they don't care. They probably barely even felt it.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
so a lot of fun stuff, and then every day, we're doing something, and you got those experiences, and you could show up one day and happen to be part of our videos that we film for our social media. You never know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, there's always something going on at Gatorland. And so the zip line, is that available 7 days a week? And now zip line is a different purchase, though. It's not part of general admission, correct?
It is not part of general admission, but you can book it once you get to the park. So if you just have a general admission ticket or you're just showing up, if we got spots available, you can. Otherwise, we highly recommend that you book it ahead of time on reservations. It takes reservations, and check it out on our website. And they have multiple times throughout the day different slots to sign up for. And it's $49.99 right now. We're running a special.
And I just know it was a very, very affordable. And you zip line over alligators.
You do. Only one like it.
And then do you guys still do the trainer for a day type thing?
We still do the trainer for the day in the morning. You can book that online. And then we have our nighttime after hours called the Night Shine, which is a guided tour in the evening.
Eyeballs?
And you can see their eyes glow red at the end of the tour.
I saw a meme that said that this was Christmas in Florida, and it was the water with all the alligators' eyes, you know, like a Christmas light.
That's cute.
What about the swamp buggy? How's that doing?
It's doing great, and it's a great ride and awesome. And you can.
Is it an airboat? I mean, what exactly?
No, so
is
a swamp buggy is kind of like if you took a pontoon boat and a monster pontoon boat and a monster truck and put them together. That's a swamp buggy ride. So big, platform can hold up to 12 to 14 people. On the buggy itself, big old wheels, and it's a little guided tour. You have a driver and somebody talking, and there's a whole backstory to it through it. But you go over hills, through mud, and you finish up going through a big pond full of alligators and get to see them, kind of up close.
Do you get muddy?
I was about to ask that.
I mean, there could be a day where you might get a little mud flung up on you, but it's not.
I don't know if it was one of those like guaranteed things.
Not a guarantee.
Okay,
not a guarantee at all.
Right.
It just depends on the day, but. It is definitely not fun. You can book that once you get to the park.
Okay. Can you pre-book it as well, though?
No pre-books. It's first come, first serve once you get to the park.
And you still have the train, right?
Still got the train ride. You can still feed alligators. You can go in the playground. You can go in the water park. You can see all the exhibits. You can hold them, take pictures, all that fun stuff still.
Oh, this is so fun. So I know you guys have already talked about 2024. Is there anything like that you have coming up that we got the big news today.
Yeah. So we're working on some things in the park. We got some new kind of food and beverage things going in, a new candy shop that we're hoping to open, and it's kind of old school style candy shop.
And put some candy cigarettes in there.
I don't know what they're going to have. I hope some good stuff, and then we got some, different things just moving around, and that's all in the process. And we're hoping, to have a nice new event space / kind of beer garden coming up.
Oh, cool.
But that's still in the early stages, so we'll see.
Beer and gators. I don't know.
Heck yeah, that's Florida, girl.
We already have it, at our food and beverage spots that you can purchase. But this is mostly for kind of event and events and things like that. But
you're talking about doing like music there by the beer garden.
I don't know what they're gonna have in store for it. I don't know. I mean,
fun.
Yeah, I mean we bring in some musicians and stuff like that for our special events. Like we got this awesome DJ for our weekend events and people playing, but. We'll see what happens. I mean, that's a little bit down the road, but it's on the radar.
And then you also get involved with a lot of community outreach. Like I believe that it was like Boy Scouts. I'm trying to remember what else, but I mean, I'm not public relations. So that would be your
there's
neck of the woods.
Definitely a lot we do out in the community. We have weekly shows that some of our guys go out and do at the local hotels and resorts that are education. I mean, we're all education based, really.
You guys go to schools?
We go to schools. That's all part of our off-property department. So, and I still do those, every once in a while and go out. But we take plethora of animals with us and teach people how to be safe pet owners and teach them about alligators and how to be safe around them.
Do you guys go to schools and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If the school wants us to come, we're gonna book it and go check it out.
Is it mostly like younger kids, or do you guys still do like? I mean, because I know that
all ages.
Okay.
All ages.
My son would still love that.
Oh yeah.
He's a junior.
And then on top of that, schools that come and visit us for field trips, we're doing stuff with them once they get in the park as well. So, a lot of different things and just different events that, will be part of the community,
Do you guys have internships or anything like that?
We used to, not anymore. I mean, I know different laws and stuff changed a long time ago with interns and all that. So, to work at Gatorland, you got to be at least 18 years old and stuff. And, but, we work with different groups that might be looking for something like that, and it could be a case-to-case basis.
This is a little bit of a funny story about when Hurricane Ian came. You guys flooded.
We did. The first flood we've had in like 60, 70 years, yes.
You got to tell us real quick how you managed that. How many gators escaped?
Nobody escaped out of Gatorland. let me clarify that.
My gosh.
Nobody got out, but you've been to the park. That front 15-acre pond, the 10-acre breed marsh was 18 inches of water. You're walking on the walkway. So a lot of our little guys got out swimming on the main walkway, and took us a few days to catch them and put them back where they belong.
Like rounded up gators.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a fun day. Fun day at work.
It was.
But it just sounded funny. It was like, Gators escape from Gatorland.
Hey, didn't escape.
Nobody outside of Gatorland.
Well, we're wrapping up. So thank you so much for being our guest today.
Thanks for having us.
You can give everybody your contact info real quick.
Yeah, check us out. Website, www.gatorland.com. You can book everything there. Definitely come out and check us out and see us on the weekends for our holiday ho down.
All right. And you can find me at strikingbrand.com.
And I am Angela. A huge thank you to our sponsors, and thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, everyone.